Good evening to you. This is Ryan Mallory for July 14th, 2010. Going to do a daily market wrap up here. Uh, I started doing one on Saturday, I believe it was, and that was the last one that I've published. I've actually tried to do a few others since then, but none of them actually made it to the website. So, basically, technical difficulties. Didn't have the right software like I was needing to have. So, as a result, it's taken this long for me to be able to get a new video to you. But as I said in the first one, I hope to be able to do this on a pretty regular, consistent basis. So with that said, I'm going to go over some of the charts on the major indices, go over a few of the positions in my portfolio, and give you some thoughts, some opinions about where we're at, where we're going, etc., etc. First one is the S&P 500 up here on the screen already. Obvious neckline here that was broken back in early July has since then bounced quite a bit more than what a lot of us was expecting. But as you can see, it's starting to run into some resistance here, where a previous high was made, not the last one, but the one before it, and it's not really getting much higher than that at this point. It's had two tests, one from yesterday, one from today, and both times it tested, it sold off some yesterday, and then some again today. So also you have the 50-day moving average that looks like it's just above it. Yeah, it's right above it, and it's not really going away from that as far as in terms of a breakout or a breakdown. So it's at a pivot point right now, and then this doji too that we got today. That's also a pretty good sign for us here, as in the past dojis have been marked with future reversals, as we saw here on July 6th, and then again where we had three of them that were preceding a major sell-off in the markets. So hopefully this one here is a similar candle to what we're getting right here in terms of what happens thereafter. So no way to tell for sure. I think the bulls have got to be a little bit discouraged today, more so than the bears were, because I know if you were like me, where you're short to the gills right now, and we didn't finish 10 or 11 points on the S&P lower, you're probably a little bit disappointed, as I was today too. But on the other hand, I would hate to be a bull even more, because here you have these record blowout earnings from Intel, and basically what happens is Intel sells off the entire day and takes the market with it pretty much. You can see here this bearish candle does not look all that spectacular for the Intel bulls. Here's a daily chart here. So here you have the open, we go way up, and then we just keep selling off steadily throughout the day. Um, so for those who are holding shares of Intel, definitely frustrating. For those who were heavy in the tech sector, it's frustrating as well. And then just general market bulls, it had to be pretty annoying today to see what should have been a 20-point gain on the S&P perhaps turn into basically a break-even day. Um, let's go back here though and look at the S&P. Pull back up the daily chart here. Um, so right now, I've said this in posts in the past too, that if we break this uh, mark here at around 11:30, I think the Bears are in pretty big trouble right now. There's been no technical damage to the Bears' case at this point, so I think we're okay. But I will get nervous if we break above here, and then at this point, if it breaks above that 11:30, I think the Bears have a hard time justifying their positions. So if you're like me, I'll be covering quite a bit of them if we hit that 11:30 mark and close above it. So something to watch. Same case with the NASDAQ, except right here you have the 50-200 day crossover, which is always a welcome development by the Bears. Russell here. Likewise, just like on the S&P and Nasdaq, you got a nice little doji candle, and it happened to actually close below the 50-day today, so it's having difficulty breaking above it. A couple of charts, random charts. Goldman Sachs here. I've talked about this one in the past where you had this stock trading in a narrow channel, and a break to either direction would be a very strong move in the general direction that it breaks out in. In this case, it breaks out to the upside. If you think that this market can sustain the moves from the past 5 or 6 trading sessions, then this might be a good stock for you to jump into alongside. If the market can keep it up, I think we could possibly see 170, maybe even high as 180 in this stock. I, on the other hand, was hoping we would see the bears be able to push this stock through the bottom channel line, but obviously that didn't happen. Let's see here. MindRay, this is a stock that we currently hold in the portfolio, and as you can see here, things are getting pretty interesting right now with 3 consecutive down days. You have a nice bearish engulfing pattern that is seeing some decent follow through to it. Now tomorrow you get similar action. We're going to have a significant breakdown here. As you can see, we have a strong level of support right here. So if they can push below that, then that would be by far exciting. So ESV continues to play around with me here a little bit. You got this head and shoulders pattern, cup and handle pattern, I guess, if you're looking at it from this perspective here. Head and shoulders if you're looking at it from that direction. In any case, though, can't break above the neckline, which is keeping me in this trade here right now. So if it breaks above it, I'm probably going to be tempted to cover my short position in the trade. WTFC, bought it when I was trading this channel. It's broken above it. However, you know, it's not making any new highs here, so I'm going to stay in this one for the time being as well. CERN was another stock that I jumped into yesterday, I believe it was, and has a nice bearish engulfing pattern followed by a day of consolidation. I think this one is very vulnerable to the downside if the bears can get their acts together here. Slab found some resistance at the 50-day moving average, and as well it looks like it has possibly peaked here, especially with this nice little spike in volume here, so some rollover action there. T2108, pretty popular chart that we got, provided by Warden. You can get it if you have a subscription to either their stock finder or their telechart service. In any case, it has moved up very dramatically here in the past few days, and we're at 70, so we're actually getting pretty close to getting long-term overbought here, and I think it's getting to a point now where it's pretty safe to add to your short positions. BP, probably the most hated stock in America right now, found some resistance at the 50-day moving average as well. Tempting short, I'm not going there though, because there's no way to predict the news. There's no way to the nature of the stock itself is so volatile that it's either you're going to take a big win or a big loss on the trade, and I like to go into a trade thinking that my win potential is much greater than my loss potential, and with the gap ups and gap downs, there's just no way to know that for sure. Albemarle Corp, another short that we added yesterday. So far so good. It hasn't been able to break any new highs here. That would be marked right here. Heavy resistance at that point. WRC, same thing. Actually some pretty good action out of that to the downside today, despite it finishing up as it retraced a lot of its gains throughout the day, making for a nice bearish candle there with a long upper shadow. Live Nation Entertainment, this one was a new position today, but did a good job of whipping me around. It's finding support at the 200-day moving average right now, but a break below it and the bottom falls out of it, I believe. So we could see it go sub 10. HIB Sports, likewise finding resistance at the 50-day moving average. Has yet to break the 200, but you know, I believe that the risk reward here on this stock is pretty good. It's pretty close to its previous highs. this market's going to sell off, this is a good place for it to start. And you got a bearish harmony here, right? So, not a bad thing either. Any case, tomorrow should be pretty interesting. You got the jobless claims report coming out, and you also have a few other reports to keep an eye on. I'll outline them in the trading plan that I publish tomorrow, as I do every day. But for now, get some sleep, and I hope you guys all have a good evening.